Final Fantasy IX, a game built around a huge amount of diversity with skills, abilities, and for the second time in the series, a character transformational state which increases their stats and gives them unique abilities. I am of course talking about Trance, but Trance is extremely RNG dependent. The Trance bar only increases upon taking direct damage from enemies. It does not increase from things like poison, and it doesn't increase from damaging your own characters. So, what if we really mix things up for a playthrough and see if we can beat the game using only Trance? Let's find out, shall we? And to do that, we need rules first. Rule number 1. All character abilities outside of Trance are banned. This means no stealing, no magic, no summons, and no sword skills, unless I am in Trance. Rule number 2. All auto abilities are allowed, except ones that deal any kind of damage to monsters, aka no counterattack, no auto reflect. Rule number 3. Defending and item usage are allowed due to the nature of needing to take damage to increase Trance. This run would be completely impossible with no healing, so let's give it a fair chance. Rule number 4. No tent trick. Even though I am allowed item usage, I am not allowed to throw tents at monsters. And finally, rule number 5. No running away. Yes, any random encounters must be fought, because I hate having free time and I decided to punish myself by making this run 10 times longer than it needs to be. Okay, all the rules are in place, and just to let you know, I'm writing the script as I go, so I have no idea what's going to happen yet either. My big prediction is there's going to be no grinding, and this is going to be a big time investment. So, let's start. Right after I ask you guys to hit that like button and leave a comment down below to help support the channel. Let me know your predictions for what's going to happen. These videos take an insanely long time, and dropping a like with a comment helps tremendously with YouTube's royally busted algorithm. Also, for anybody new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I do all kinds of crazy challenges like this that I'm sure you won't want to miss. There's also my Discord and Twitter linked down in the description, which you should also totally check out. And for anybody who wants to really help support the channel, take a look at the Patreon link down there as well, where you could get yourself some goodies, like the exclusive behind the scenes. With that shameless plug out of the way, let's start for real. And we're thrown into a battle pretty much straight off the bat with Baku, right after naming our main character. I call him Twitter because you lose brain cells when looking at both of them. Now, we don't have Trance unlocked for these early tutorial battles, so I guess the challenge has failed right here. Well, no, we're going to be fair. For these tutorial fights, I'm only allowed to attack since we unlock Trance soon anyway. We'll start the run properly there, but no abilities are allowed still, so no Mage Masher. So we attack our way through Baku, plan to kidnap the princess, and then we're in control of our lovely little Vivi in Alexandria. In traditional JRPG fashion, we steal everything that's not nailed down. We ignore the Mogmail side quest, pretend Jump Road does not exist, and the biggest thing, we're going to use the shop and spend all of our gil buying potions for later. After picking up everything and buying potions, we have 26 potions, 2 high potions, and 2 Phoenix down. That's enough for now, so let's move on. Watch the play, and then it's sword fight time. Well, first we name VV sub to me because subscriber's too long. Before we get called out by Puck for having a weird name, I'd just like to point out, Puck, you're a rat, so I win by default here. Now, with the sword fight, we have 2 very important goals, and for both of them, we need to impress 100 nobles and the queen. This will give us a whopping 10,000 gil, which we'll use very soon, and also we can get a moonstone from the queen later. This fight scene was annoying because I'm playing the Steam version and I swapped my controls, so my PS4 controller X button is actually the Xbox B button instead of A. It throws you through a loop, but hey, second time's not bad. Then we meet the lovely white mage Garnet, aka Dagger, aka Sarah, who runs off the moment she hears the word Twitter. It's okay, princess. I get it. I totally get it. Twitter's weird. Now, on to Rusty, who, once we get control of, we're going to run back upstairs, speak to the queen, and get the Moonstone. It does nothing for this run other than serve as bragging rights to those who struggle with the sword fight. Sorry about that. Anyway, do the Pluto minigame by finding all the knights, get the free elixir, and mash your way through everything until we finally get to Evil Forest, when we have to save the princess, and we finally get Trance. And thankfully, Zidane starts in Trance, meaning no waiting. I have Zidane using free energy, and Rusty just sitting there waiting and ready to throw potions out on Garnet, who's trapped and having her HP absorbed by the cage. Right after, it's round 2, only this time Vivi is trapped and I don't get a free Trance, which means I have to wait to do anything. Vivi does cast fire on the boss, which some might argue goes against the rules. However, Vivi is not currently a playable character, which means we are not making any actual selections, so we're still fine. Eventually, Vivi kills the boss off for me, with me having to use 2 potions, one on Vivi and one on Zidane. Notice how very little Trance I got in that whole fight? Yeah, this is going to be a slog for sure. Now, it's time for a 1v1 with Baku. We have essentially 0 Trance as well, so it's a case of sitting here throwing potions out when I'm around 40 HP until I finally get Trance with Zidane, where I can use free energy on Baku. Not gonna lie, I got really worried about my potion count for this fight, given how slow Trance was going. And speaking of slow, this one fight took me an entire 8 minutes. Now imagine that for every single fight in the game. I could have technically stolen from Baku once Zidane entered Trance, but because of how long it takes to get Trance and how few potions I had left at the end, I decided against this. Speed up booster is going to be a godsend for me here. Now, we finally have access to a shop after Baku decimates our gut. China charges us though, and now you know what that 10k gil was for. I buy some antidotes and eye drops for safety. I'm not even sure if I'll need them or not, but better to be safe than sorry, especially with the antidotes. I also buy some Phoenix Downs and get 99 potions. Now, I save at Moscow and do a sprint for the goal. And by goal, I mean the river area. An optional area in Evil Forest that once you visit, disables all random battles in the forest. If I get into an encounter though, I simply reset and load my save, as this will be far faster than actually waiting for Trance on my characters. And I want to save my potions for now. And I looked out, getting there on my first trip. RNG really came in clutch here. Just curses for the fact I've probably just spent all my luck for the rest of this run. Once I get to the spring area, I refresh my HP and MP with it and move everybody to the back row to lower my incoming damage, and then I go for the plant brain. I get hit by thunder basically right off the bat, killing Vivi, and before I can heal, Zidane gets taken out. Blank arrives and I scramble to heal and revive with the boss using thunder again, killing my revived Zidane. I eventually manage to get everybody up and healed before thunder once again kills Vivi. At this point, I decide to just leave him dead and focus on healing somebody when they take damage, hoping for a fast Trance. At least it's going to be faster than Baku anyway. I get about a third of the way to Trance with Zidane, and about a quarter of the way with Rusty, when I notice I've already used 20 of my potions. This could be bad. I still have a mandatory fight with the plant spiders yet as well. It's exactly this point where I realize I might be in trouble this run. Healing is going to be a big issue. Partway through, the plant decides to go full evil mode and one-shot Zidane with a thunder, and then keep killing him before I have a chance to heal. This is proving to be a real difficult fight in terms of keeping people topped up, and a single bad damage roll on a thunder spell means Zidane gets one shot. Halfway through my potions though, and Zidane is more than 3/4 of the way to Trance. Just a little more to go. And I jinxed myself, because the moment I typed this, Zidane got one shot again. I only have 7 Phoenix downs right now. I cleanse Steiner's blindness, heal up, and Zidane finally enters Trance. I immediately use free energy while healing with Blank and Steiner. After another free energy, the boss finally dies. This was a 15-minute plant brain fight, and far more difficult than I initially gave it credit for. I have less than 50 potions now, barely any gil. I'm in trouble, a lot of trouble. Then it's time for the mandatory spider fight, which thankfully do a lot less damage than the boss. I revive Vivi and let Blank die. Now any damage I take with Blank dead is giving me Trance on somebody at least, and I don't need to use a potion every single turn, thankfully. Let's just hope I can make it through Ice Cavern with my limited amount of stock remaining. Sadly, Vivi dies, and while I ready a potion with Steiner, he enters Trance, which wastes one of his turns in Trance, meaning this fight is now going to take way longer because of the fact I couldn't get 2 attacks off with Steiner. And with one bug being dead, it means only 1 attacks me, making Trance way slower to gain. The fight went on for another 10 minutes. And by the way, this was using the speed up booster. Steiner and Vivi are so close to a Trance as well, but thankfully Zidane managed to get it and kill the spider before they enter Trance. And we finally got our first bit of EXP. 2 less than we needed for a level on anybody, so we're still only level 1. Well, Evil Forest is done, and it only took me nearly 80 potions. Now I wish I allowed running away from fights, as then I could have charged Trance and ran away in Evil Forest using the spring for a free heal. This would have allowed me to kill the plant brain a lot faster and saved me a bunch of potions. I might actually remove that rule coming up, otherwise I don't think this run will be possible due to all the healing needed, if I'm not allowed to run from random encounters. Well, now that we're out of Evil Forest, Garnet is useless for us for sure. I can heal when she's in Trance, but I'd burn way too many potions keeping her alive. So any random battles, I'm not going to heal her. The plan is pretty simple. Run to the gate in the northeast to buy potions. The goal is doing that without a single battle. But of course, I'm not that lucky, so I abuse save scumming here. I take a few steps, then save. Take a few more and save again. I don't have the resources to waste on random fights at this point, so while it takes time, it works, and we eventually get there. For anybody curious, what should have been a 20-second walk took 7 minutes, but we managed to refill our potions completely. Now, to do it all again, heading back to Ice Cavern, I make absolute sure to pick up and equip the Mage Masher and Leather Wrist. To save potions as well, I kill off Vivi and leave him dead with Garnet. Zidane and Steiner have more health and more defense, meaning my potions go much further right now. And it also means they get more EXP per fight. 2 Wyverns, for example, when only Zidane and Steiner are alive, give a massive 45 EXP. And they have a chance at dropping ethers, which we can sell later. Not only that, they have the HP swap ability, which means I can increase my Trance a lot with them healing me, reducing my overall potion usage by a lot, actually allowing me to do a little leveling. Cave Imps are dangerous though, as they can inflict sleep. Thankfully, I only saw them once, with Zidane being just 1 hit off of Trance, so I didn't need to worry too much. And thanks to the HP gain from leveling up, my potions get much more distance. Thanks to this, I was able to make it all the way to the Moogle at the end with over 40 potions left. Zidane managed an awesome level 7 as well, which is going to be a huge, huge help in the next boss fight. So, let's go. I do decide to get a little cocky and aim for the steals here in this fight, because that Mithril Dagger would be a real nice boon to get. The stars didn't align for me to get it in the first Trance though, so I use a high potion to top up, and then we wait for Trance again. No luck in the second trance either. Let's try once more. But again, no luck. I still have quite a few potions though, so I keep trying for it. It would be a big boon for the next two bosses after all. I do get it on the 4th trance and decide, since my potion count is still good, I'll aim for the silk shirt from the Black Waltz too, which I managed to get on my 5th trance. Then I'm able to use one flame, which kills off the Black Waltz, and now before I manage to heal, he uses Tsunami, which takes me down to just 23 health, and gets a second turn in a row to attack me. My heart sank and I was so worried. I got greedy. Now thankfully the stars did align and I dodged the hit, letting me heal, and then just proceed to wait until my next trance where I'm able to finally kill off the sea lion. The extra health in the levels here has really come in clutch. On average I was getting a trance every 2 to 3 potions, which is amazingly cost effective. All in all, the boss took just under 12 minutes, and Ice Cavern a little over an hour using the speed up booster. I just wish I could get auto regen before disc 3, but I think I found a good strategy now of trying to focus one character for faster leveling to up my health quickly. I make it to Dali with 22 potions left. I sell off my Evas and Phoenix Pinnons, upgrade my gear and refill my potions. Thankfully, there's no encounters below Dali unless we open the door next to the Mist Machine. So, guess what we're not doing? Now, Black Waltz 2 has me really worried, so I'm not even going to attempt to steal the items from him and try to burn it down as fast as I can. Thankfully, because of leaving Vivi dead so long, he was right next to being in trance anyway. The downside, I've got Walt counters magic. Whoops. I revive Vivi and try a normal attack, do 18 damage, and give up, leaving him dead. Looks like this is down to Rusty and Twitter, and as we all know, Twitter is enough to kill anybody in large doses. Steiner enters trance and does a solid 200 damage, after which I revive Vivi and use Fire Sword with Steiner, dealing another 300 damage. Then Zidane gets trance where I use a Tidal Flame for a massive 400 damage, followed by another Tidal Flame to give me the win. The thing that makes this fight easier is by keeping Vivi dead, the Waltz won't actually attack Garnet, meaning Steiner and Zidane get some easy trances here. Next up, right after that, we have Black Waltz 3, and we're limited to just Vivi, Steiner, and Zidane, two of which have just used their trance abilities. Thankfully, Vivi gets a free one here. Sadly, he dies nearly instantly after getting just one double cast off, and Waltz 3 hits like a freaking truck. So I spend most of the turns just throwing potions out after nearly every other attack. Second to trance is Zidane, so I get Tidal Flames rolling, and I'm not exactly sure how, but I managed to get 3 off of in one trance. If anybody knows the reason for this, can you let me know please? Because I really don't have a clue how I managed more than 2. With that out of the way though, Waltz 3 dies and we end up in Lindblom. Sadly though, I didn't have the Gil in Dolly to fill up on wrists for the Cotton Road trick. But that's fine, we'll be swimming in Gil soon. We get the Rat Lady, who's a strong silent type, so of course we name her Comment, something you should totally do on this video. Now, time for a shopping spree. I buy 4 Mage Mashers and 2 of everything else for Synthing. The big ones we want are Glass Buckles, because they give a nice boost to Spirit, and if you didn't know, Spirit actually increases the amount of trance you get upon being hit, along with a bunch of other useful features. So, stocking up on as much Spirit as we can is going to be crucial. Once the Festival of the Hunt starts, I get into a fight and do absolutely nothing, letting the mob kill me, so that Freya wins the hunt. Then there's something about a war, genocide of a race, plot to take over the whole continent, etc. Doesn't have to do with Trance, so we don't care and move on. Nega slips us all a roofie and we head off to Chocobo Forest by absolutely save scumming our way there. This forest is going to be the linchpin of this run, as there's a lot of stuff we want from here, and it's RNG dependent for how much time we stay. You see, fighting battles is slow and tiresome, and costs Gil for healing. The way to get Gil? Fight battles. It's a bad loop for this kind of challenge. With Chocobo Forest though, we can make a huge amount of Gil pretty easily, and we can get some truly outstanding items. Robe of Lords and Protect Ring are 2 of them. but we can also dig up items that have a 1 in 1024 chance of dropping. The two we want are Extension and Barrette. Now, sadly, these can only be equipped by female party members. However, they teach Auto Potion and Chemist. Auto Potion uses potions automatically when we take damage, meaning I don't have to waste a turn, and Chemist doubles item healing. Now you can see why we want both. While working on these, I also go to Q's Marsh and recruit Quina, who I name Mooper. And then it's a back and forth between the forest and the marsh as I work on capturing frogs for some more easy items. Really need 45 frogs though because we won't be using frog drop, and I stand at 0 chance of beating quail. However, since it took so much time for digging up the items I wanted, I actually did get to 98 frogs captured. I stopped there though, as once again I stand no chance of beating quail. I'm curious though, with you guys knowing I wanted 2 items here, both of which are a 1 in 1024 chance, how long do you think I spent here? The answer? Way too freaking much. It could have been much worse though. I now have over 59 hours on the clock and over 3 million gil. After I got my Protect Rings and Robe of Lords, I had nothing else to spend my points on, so I just spammed them on Phoenix Pinions. Once I bought 99 of them, I went to Dragon's Gate at Limblum, sold them until I figured there was just no point anymore, as even with extreme spending on items, this should be enough to get me through even without grinding. It was also over 1,800 games of Hot and Cold for those interested. So, I go back to Limblum, do a massive gear buy to make sure I have enough of everything, collect the chocographs, and then it's time for a little grinding to learn abilities like Auto Potion, Chemist, and Cover on Freya. Everybody else? If they can learn anything, then great. Freya is the star of the show from this point on though, while Quina is currently useless, but Quina has High Tide, which is helpful. Shame about the damage being so RNG though. Now, that's what I originally thought anyway, but once I equipped the Yellow Scarf on Quina, I saw something I forgot about. The Millionaire Ability. Thanks to this, I'm getting anywhere from 500 to 1000 gil per fight, and as my HP goes up, I use less potions, meaning some fights I was actually in the net gain area for gil. Now, don't let that fool you. This is probably one of the worst grinds I've done in a long time. It got tedious real fast. I'm just lucky I had a nice backlog of films and anime to binge while doing it. Well, 4 levels later, I equip Chemist, unequip Auto Potion as the damage I'm taking currently is a little too low to warrant throwing a potion constantly on it. Heal up, and into Gizmaluke we go. We get forced into a fight with 2 black mages. Thanks to Chemist though, my potions Freya throws out heal for 300 now, and high potions heal for a massive 900 health. With that, it's just a waiting game until I trance. Same for the next few fights as well. Save at Megumi, and then it's time for Gizmaluke himself. Now the fight starts off slow, painfully slow. Quina and Vivi are at 0 risk of dying thanks to being equipped with Robe of Lords. A very much so endgame armor with insane defense to match up with that statement. So it's just a case of throwing potions out with Freya when needed. Quina eventually trances and gets a few hits in, and then Vivi trances as well. I managed to get 3 fires off before he gets silenced and loses his trance. Then we're back to a slow snail's pace while I wait for another trance. Zidane ends up winning the race and finishes the fight off with a dying ability. And with that, the camera changes to Dagger, who is covered in a smelly liquid, so strips down in an alleyway and we're done here. I do however make sure to refill with potions before I board the tram with her though. Back to Zidane. I save scum my way over to the Chocobo tracks, get the reef ability, I go back for the other Chocograph treasures, I instantly equip the Oak Rod on Vivi, and then it's off to fight Beatrix. Where, thankfully, the objective is just to stay alive long enough for Beatrix to one-shot you all, so I could just sit here throwing out high potions and Phoenix Downs as required. Next up we have the Blast from the past, Black Holt's free again. However, I'm low leveled as hell and waiting for Trance will take time. This guy also likes us a lot. So I decided to leave Marcus and Steiner dead and not heal them at all, because the moment it's just Garnet alive, our friend here will just kill himself. I don't even need to heal Garnet. It's at this point though, we have what I think will be one of the longest grinds coming up in Trino, as I'm simply nowhere near strong enough to beat the snake boss currently with these rules. So I bite the bullet and grind the crawlers 4 levels, and this took a lot longer than I care to admit. The problem is we have to do this now, as we can't level Steiner again after this point. And he has a boss rush later with Beatrix when Alexander gets attacked by Mitsudons. So we need to make sure he has the health to survive. This starts to go faster and faster though, and eventually I kill off Dagger to speed it up even more so, now that Steiner is getting all the EXP. Next up is Ralva Rover, aka the snake boss nobody can remember the name for. And I get really unlucky in that he poisons me and inflicts slow right off the bat. I decide to keep just Steiner alive though for faster trances. Slow eventually wears off after so many turns, poison however does not, and I need to make sure I stay at high health so the moment I enter trance I can focus on attacking. Eventually, after constant high potion use and attacking when I enter trance, we manage to drive it off and make it safely back to Alexandria. We fly through Clara, survive another fight with Beatrix, and then Zidane is off to Alexandria to rescue Dagger, where we have to fight the Jesters, which pose no trouble, like another fight with Beatrix just to stay alive, slowly make our way through the Bandersnatches, which ultimately pose no problem, and then we eventually get to Lenny. Now, Lenny is normally an easy fight on its own. The downside here is she really doesn't like Dagger, which is a problem because we need her to attack our other characters for Trance. In the end, the only solution I could come up with was to let Lenny kill Dagger off completely, and then I could slowly whittle her down with others as they finally enter trance. Vivi does die as well, but I choose to leave him dead as his trance will help with some of the random fights in here, and Zidane is about to hit trance anyway. And 2 sets of solution 9 is all that's needed to beat Lenny here. Still an easy fight, but slow because of her hate for Dagger. Now it's actually smooth sailing until Healgigas. Thankfully, Aiko has auto regen though, which helps a lot. Sadly, she's the most useless of all party members currently. Zidane is my real damage dealer, but the last random encounter left him with no trance bar. Vivi is nearly at trance, but I'm not expecting him to be very helpful. So what I'm thinking is let Dagger and Aiko die so I can funnel the attacks to Zidane and Vivi. That goes out the window though when Earthquake kills off 3 of my 4 party members, and try as I might, I just can't pull it back. So, onto attempt number 2. On attempt 2, Vivi gets bullied and nearly one-shot every attack, so I focus heal him with everybody and he gets a fast trance. But before I can get any spells off, he's killed. And once he's back up though, I start spamming dual bios for some nice damage. Still a long way off killing him though, and to make matters worse, I run out of MP with Vivi. I did manage about 5,000 damage though, but then he used Kuriga and healed 2,000 of that. Honestly, that hurt my soul more than I thought it would. Now, I'm absolutely miles away from another trance. Dagger is halfway, but she's useless for me, and to make matters worse, he's using Earthquake a lot, and I'm running low on high potions. And so, resort to using normal potions every turn to try and stay on top of healing. We're not hitting that point where auto potion is going to start coming in very, very handy. We're now hitting that point where auto potion is going to start coming in very handy. And even better, auto regen. But I'm a long way from getting that on my other characters. I'm for sure going to do a grind at Maiden Sari since there's an easy to reach shop there and a free heal as well. Really wish I had those Robe of Lords equipped right now, to be honest, as then I wouldn't be burning high potions on my mages. This fight is so dangerous, I can't risk having my mages dead, as I need all 4 characters throwing out potions just so I can survive. This is by far the hardest fight I've had so far. I do eventually manage to get Zidane into Trance, so I can get 2 Solution 9s off to finish off the fight. Not before Vivi dies a heroic death, mind you. This was such a tough fight that I 100% need to grind some levels, or I'm just going to roadblock hard in the life tree. Also, fun fact, that fight took over 30 minutes and used up nearly my entire stock of healing items. My potions came in clutch, I save scum my way to Minsari, stock up on healing items, which is where I realised my mistake. I can only buy normal potions in Conde Pete and Maiden Sari. So, I stock up, go all the way back to Black Mage Village where I can buy high potions, then I do my grinding here. After way too long, we move on. No issues on the mobs in the life tree thanks to Zidane and Vivi being so close to Trance upon entering, but now I'm in trouble for the boss. Thankfully, there's a nice trick here. Even though I allow healing outside of Trance, I can't do anything to the boss until I'm in Trance. So, no easy cheese here. Instead, we have to wait. Thankfully though, Auto Potion is going to start shining for me here. The moment anybody takes damage, a potion goes out, and this adds extra time for Aiko's regen to heal me up to full. Meaning, right now, Aiko is pretty much invincible. Add on to the fact where you get Aiko, she has a Sapphire, which is an excellent way to teach High Tide to the whole party. And we're golden with much faster trances now. Really came in clutch when I was leveling, that did. Can't even imagine how much time it saved me. Now, sadly, I forget to protect myself against Mustard Bomb, which causes Vivi and Aiko to die. But Dagger enters Trance, and I accidentally, by which I mean totally intentionally, threw a Phoenix down on the boss and then finished it off with a high potion with Dagger. Thanks to my levels and auto abilities now, we can really start making some fast progress. Starting with Amarant, who gets decimated so badly, I kind of feel a little sorry for him. Especially because Zidane enters Trance after just 2 hits. And 2 Solution 9s later, and he's dead. We haven't had a boss that easy in forever. It's a nice feeling, to be honest, and it makes me more confident in the future of this run. The Mistodons were forced to fight at the Ivory Tree, topple over like domino. We watched the Elephant Lady die a painful death, play some cards, watch Alexandria get destroyed, Dagger becomes a mute, and just like that we sum up a quarter of disc 3 in 1 sentence. Now though, we have a ship and it's time to do side quests, by which I mean Chocobo Hot and Cold to get a bunch of new gear, including some robes which let me get auto regen for Vivi and Dagger. But now though, I'm in trouble. This is the second worst area that I'm expecting. We have to split the party. On one side, magic doesn't work and can't be used, but Zidane is there. And on the other, magic can be used, but no Zidane. So I have to be very careful on how I spread my party here. In the end, I decide on a 2-2 split, by which I mean 2 good characters and 2 trash characters for each area. I send Dagger and Quina with Zidane as they'll be the most useless for me since I don't have blue magic and Dagger can't concentrate, and so Zidane can carry them. Next, I also send Freya since I'll be getting her ultimate weapon here and her jump command will prove to be a real benefit against Arc. I also make sure to learn Clear-Headed on everybody and buy high potions from the airship when needed. And now it's time for Arc. Now, even in a normal playthrough, Arc is a royal pain in the arse if you aren't ready for it. But with my current rules, it's going to be even worse. Thankfully, Clear-Headed removes one of the biggest threats in this fight, confusion. I do still have to deal with everything else though. Thankfully, auto potion on everybody and auto regen on most gives me a good chunk of survivability. I still have to keep throwing high potions out, just to be sure though, while I wait for the Trance to build. With Dagger though, especially because she can't concentrate, that means she has no Trance, which means sadly, she's just a heal bot here for me. What I really need is a Trance on Zidane though, who got hit by Photon, taking his health all the way down to 1. Needless to say, he's my clutch, so I panic heal him with everybody to get him topped. I'm taking 0 risks in this fight. If somebody gets hurt, they get healed. Thankfully, after a boomerang, Zidane gets Trance. I use the others to heal up while Zidane throws out a Solution 9. Freya gets hit by Photon, and so I instantly heal that as well. Sadly, Solution 9 only does a little under 6k damage. Not as much as I would like, considering Arc has 20,000 health. With High Tide though, I managed to get 4 Solution 9s off, thankfully, which is just enough to kill him. And to make matters even better for me, Freya is actually close to Trance as well. After the fight, that's going to come in handy later. Or it would if Arc didn't use Whirlwind right before he died and knocked her into Trance, completely wasting it. Now, before I pick up the Gulag Stone though, I unequip everybody just to give me more gear options in Kuja's Palace, which was actually far easier than I actually expected because the RNG was on my side. I only had one random encounter in the entire dungeon. As for the boss, with getting all Bloodstones, we remove his threat pretty much entirely. Sadly, Steiner, my big boy damage dealer, is the furthest from Trance. But that's okay because the boss really doesn't like Steiner and seems to focus him pretty hard. He does spam Reflect though, but I knew he had that, and so equipped Vivi with Reflect Null, meaning once Vivi trances, I can still unload on the boss with magic. It does, however, mean Aiko is useless for me though. But once Vivi hits Trance, I use Double Meteor, which did nothing. Really wish I had Flare equipped on Vivi right now, and so instead I go for double water spells with Vivi for a nice chunk of damage, and throw Ethers out with Amarant. Aiko and Steiner are right at Trance though as well, but it ends up not being needed because Vivi's magic spam is enough to down him pretty quickly. Next up, we let the 6-year-old little girl murder a pair of clowns, and then it's time for Multi-Gemini. And Vivi runs off and is replaced by Aiko. Sadly, I'm a moron, so I forgot to equip status protection abilities needed for this fight, but thankfully Aiko is just one hit away from a Trance, which I get from Virus Breath, and so I unload Double Holy on Multi for a massive 17,000 damage. Roughly. After that kind of damage, the thought of healing just completely escapes my mind, and I double holy again, not even caring about Steiner's death or the poison on everybody. And just like that, in 3 holies, he dies. Next, the cheating Sid somehow gets his wife back. Dagger makes it halfway across the continent on her own, with nobody even noticing she was gone. Now at this point, we're supposed to do Ibsen's Castle and then Terra. But Terra has the mob rush and a triple boss rush. 2 things I am scared to death of, so I prepare for it now while I can. I visit Trino Auction House for new gear along with all the other cities with new stock, buy up everything I can including a Daigoro, and I get my gold Chocobo along with the remaining Chocographs. Now it's time for the mother of all grinds, and yes, we're doing this on Grand Dragon since I'm not too fussed about stat maxing. This way we can get some levels and decent AP. When it comes to abilities, auto regen is a priority to learn on everybody, along with auto life. Because of the rules though, I can't use auto reflect when farming, meaning antibody goes on and now I just have to heal through Thundiger and his melee hits. Shouldn't be too bad. The hits are kind of hard on me at first, but it does get easier as once I fully learn the abilities from the gem slots, I can equip coral rings to absorb his thunder damage as well. Doing this with all 8 characters took me over 30 hours, close to 40. We even skipped the clock over to the red color. But with this now, I'm feeling confident for at the very least Terra. Now, I equip everybody with status immunity abilities, auto regen, and high tide. Wish I could do more, but I really don't want to grind here any longer. So, it's off to Ibsen's Castle with my new main party, Zidane, Vivi, Steiner, and Aiko. This way I have 2 melee and 2 magic, but everybody is capable of big damage. The main reason for Aiko and Vivi is their double magic trance. Holy and Flare spam would turn out to be mega damage in the long run. Now I'm just curious if I should maybe try Osmo. Oh well, Ibsen's castle, here we come. Now, Tahaka, after the grind, isn't actually too much of a threat. I have high defense, high health, auto regen on everybody except Steiner, because he can't get it until Terra. High Tide for easy trance on everything, and auto potion on 2 characters for a little more time for auto regen. It's actually kind of impossible for him to kill me here because while learning abilities, I was also trying to maximize spirit gain on levels, so auto regen ticks well. He spams a few attacks on me which do next to nothing, and Zidane eventually trances. I have a dagger on though, so Grand Lethal is only doing about 2000 damage. But then Tahaka really messes up. He uses an AoE attack which also puts Vivi and Aiko into trance. This means he now has to deal with Grand Lethal, double flare hitting for nearly 7,000 a pop, and double holy hitting for just under 6,000 a pop. Yeah, bad mistake, Tahaka. I've not had a boss be this suicidal in a very long time now. Needless to say, Tahaka dies pretty easily here. And now, it's off to the shrines. This is one of the last times to equip everybody, so I make sure everybody has their gear and abilities ready for Terra. Now, for Leech, I'm sadly nowhere near a Trance. I also can't immune the Earth damage here because then I wouldn't get Trance. Both characters have auto life and take minuscule damage, so again, like Tahaka, I'm all but unkillable here. Except, I derp with gear selection and Zidane ends up being immune to Earth damage. So it's going to take a while for his Trance to build. Oh, and I also forgot to change their damn weapons after Ibsen's castle, so double fail. Yay for low damage, I guess. Quinn gets Trance and does a few attacks, and then Zidane trances as well for Grand Lethal, and silly low damage, all because I forgot to change his weapon. It's fine though. Attacks from Quinn and some Grand Lethals later, he does die. Terra itself isn't a problem. The problem comes from crazy old Zidane's mob rush. It's not all bad though. We get to listen to the best soundtrack in the game here. You're not alone. Anyway, first battle we have the Amadeus with Zidane and Freya. Auto potion and auto regen keeps them alive just fine, and antibody stops its bio from poisoning me. Zidane hits Trance first, where a single Grand Lethal deals max damage. A Martin comes in, but we don't need him because another Grand Lethal and it's dead. Next up, we have Quinn and Steiner against the Abaddon. Zidane isn't here just yet though. Again, auto regen and auto potion keeps them healed. Zidane pops in, but he's kind of useless for me now due to being so far from Trance. Steiner gets slashed to the face though and enters Trance. At this point, I decide to just normal attack, thinking there's not much point in using MP for shock, since my normal attack deals near max damage anyway. Needless to say, he dies quickly in only 2 hits again. Okay, on to the final fight now with Zidane with Zidane fighting a turtle. Dagger comes in later, but once again, we're in no danger here. The grind I did before for abilities is really showing how useful it was. The levels are beneficial as well, but nowhere near as good as the abilities. Auto regen on its own is the most important skill for this run. High Tide comes into second place. Eventually, Zidane gets lowered to 1 HP, which also trances him, and then Dagger shows up to heal him. Well, I'm full health, in trance, and our little turtle friend is really screwed right now, I think. With that, the mob rush is over, but we have a boss rush next. We're going to have to fight a Silver Dragon, Garland, and Kuja all back to back here. Silver Dragon is up first. Auto regen and auto potion covers all my healing here apart from Steiner, since I don't have the Carabini mail. Whoopsie. It's not the end of the world though. If need be, I can throw high potions or elixirs at him. For now though, it's a waiting game for somebody to get Trance. His shockwave is annoying though because it's moving everybody up to Trance, and I would like to keep them a little separated for the next few bosses as well. And since I have all the status immunity abilities on, I have nothing to worry about on that front either. So this fight becomes just a numbers game. Eventually, Zidane trances first, so Grand Lethal spam it is. Vivi and Aiko are only halfway due to taking so little damage because of the Robe of Lords. Steiner is nearly in trance, but before he enters, Zidane kills off the dragon. So, 1 down and 2 to go. I'm glad only 1 tranced here as well, because it means for Garland I have 3 nukes nearly about to go off on him. I throw some ethers on Zidane just in case he trances again though, ready for Grand Lethal. Garland does have stop though, and not everybody is protected against that, which can prove to be an annoyance. He also does have some hard hitting attacks, meaning if he was to just focus somebody like Ico or Steiner, he could very easily kill them. Steiner eventually trances though, so I start hitting the old man in the face with a sword, right after I throw an elixir on him. I wish I had auto regen right now on Steiner, but I do get all 4 hits with Steiner on Garland. He just has too much health, so he doesn't actually die from those 4 hits, meaning I need one more person to trance. Who will it be? Probably Zidane, because Aiko and Vivi are still so far away, and Garland seems to like abusing Zidane. Did nobody mention to him child abuse is a crime? And I was right. Zidane trances, so a grand lethal later, and Garland is dead. Okay, third fight. Kuja. Right off the bat, Steiner is pretty hurt, so I get everybody to throw high potions on him. I could do elixirs, but I'd rather not, at least until he gets hit by Kuja, meaning he's still close to dying. So I do end up using one just to fully heal him. Kuja has some pretty nasty attacks in his arsenal, but seems to be avoiding most of them, and I'm not too sure why. He just loves spamming Demi. But you know what? I don't mind. It's a good trance gain. Then I get a little shocked. The first person to trance is actually Vivi, which is great for me and not so much for him, because it means double flare for a nice 6k a hit. The other 3 are more than halfway to trance as well. Kuja marks Vivi's magic even though I'm dealing like 5 times the damage he is, but then he was never that smart, I guess. Vivi is really doing some work here though with double flare, and I might not even need to wait for anybody else to trance at this rate. But he has a death wish and attacks Aiko twice in a row, putting her into trance as well. So now he has to take double flare and double holy. Sucks for him, and it proves to be too much for him when he keels over before my holy even goes off. But he's dead, which means we're on to the final disc right now, and all that's left to do is Memoria and Osmo. And of course, I'm going to leave Osmo till last, so it's off to Memoria, right after I get Ultima Weapon. Does anybody else hate getting this with a passion, or is it just me? Like, this thing is so freaking annoying to get, seriously. Memoria and the mother of all dragons time, though. I know Terra went well, and we had no real issues there, but I'm still nervous as hell about these fights, because they were always a step above in terms of health, damage, and status effects. But I now have auto regen on Steiner as well to give complete party coverage. Right off the bat, Nova Dragon uses Tidal Wave for basically nothing. Shockwave comes after doing about 1000 damage across the board, and then Pyrokinesis on Zidane for about 1500 damage, which actually puts him into trance. So far, the damage output from Nova Dragon is easily manageable from auto regen, thanks to putting a bit of a focus on Spirit while leveling. Steiner also gets trance, so right now I have Zidane and Steiner doing big damage. Steiner does get countered though, but it's only about 1300 damage, so auto regen keeps on top of that, no problem. Ultimately, the fight went down without issue, but then Nova doesn't really do much anyway. The next few fights, however, are going to be overloaded with status effects. Now, for Melyrix, the fire boss, and we have trouble. She instantly puts up Reflect when 2 of my mages are the ones about to trance, and did I mention neither of them can pierce Reflect? Yeah, I trance with Vivi and now I just have to sit there waiting basically. Or I should, but I use Focus instead, that way when Reflect wears off I can do more damage right on the next turn. And straight after, I get trance. I double flare for 7k pop and then 8k on the second hit, but she reflects again, so it's back to using focus just for something to do. Thankfully, my characters are protected from Mustard Bomb thanks to having the body temp ability equipped. This is a lot of me just sitting around waiting with Vivi and Aiko in trance because of her reflect. The moment that falls off though, she's getting double flare and double holy to the face. Or at least, she would have done if she didn't instantly cast the damn thing again. Now it's waiting around 2.0. She does however start dealing quite a bit of damage to Zidane, but his regen can top him off. I debate healing him, but decide not to. In the end, Reflect wears off and I nuke her hard. She survives a double holy and a double flare, and then another set of double holies, but before I can flare again, Reflect is back up. I wait again for it to fall off before a final set of nukes go out to finish her off. She counters with her death attack, Raining Swords, which doesn't kill anybody. Okay, boss 1 down, 3 more to go. And next up is Tiamat. Now, straight off the bat, I'm worried about one thing and one thing alone. Snort. Snort will remove anybody from the battle instantly with no way to protect against it. Meaning this battle has an RNG time limit. Oh, and did I mention he can steal my MP? Yeah. And lower my stats. Great stuff, right? Well, to make matters even worse, again, everybody's transport is mega low apart from Zidane, and he likes dealing big damage in AoE. Zidane runs out of MP, so I elixir him, but Vivi dies. This is my first death in a long time, and so I actually panic a little here. I revive and elixir him to fully heal, right as Tiamat actually dies to grand lethal. Not what I expected, but I'll take the win. Okay, Kraken next. Or it would be, but I decide to take on Hades and see how that goes. And, well, Cleave deals massive damage, way more than I expected to happen. I'm actually worried that auto regen won't be enough here, and if it's not enough here, it probably won't be for later bosses. Steiner even drops to just a couple hundred in health. So to waste more time for auto regen, I use a high potion. He also sets up Reflect to make my casters useless. Steiner does eventually trance, but his health is so low I use an elixir on him. And then it's Royal Nightmare mode when he hits me with goddamn Curse. Followed by Cleave, killing Steiner and Zidane. Now it's real panic mode. I get them revived and throw out elixirs rapidly. Eiko gets lowered to 1 health, so also gets an elixir. He has Reflect though, so Vivi just has to sit there looking pretty for now. It falls off and I double flare. Hades thanks me with a Doomsday. Thankfully, it doesn't kill anybody, even if it does heal him by nearly 6k. And I get cursed again. Sad times. I really want to double holy him, but he has Reflect, so I use Medine. But before Medine goes off, his Reflect falls off. Well, at least it's auto regen time, I guess. Zidane hits Trance as well, so I start spamming Grand Lethal. Hades puts Reflect back up, but it's okay, because a final Grand Lethal takes him down. Easily the hardest fight so far. That was a real close one with the amount of deaths I got, but thankfully we managed. Now for Kraken, which was completely the other way around. It was so easy, like nothing to say at all. He just spammed AoE Wartiger, putting my entire party into trance, so needless to say, he got murdered. Other than Wartiger, he used Freeze a lot, but my entire party is immune to that. Now, final Guardian time, Leech. And he's no joke this time around. And because Kraken screwed me by putting everybody into trance, I have nobody even close to being able to do anything. He also likes his Doom and Death attacks, so I'm predicting a lot of deaths here. Oh, and he has level 5 Death, which kills off Zidane. I hate this fight already, because right after, he deaths Eiko. I miss Death Protection. Oh, and he can use Stop as well. In fact, this is actually a downright terrible fight for this challenge because the only attack he has that increases Trance is Earthquake and a melee attack. Now, Zidane is immune to Earthquake, meaning, you know, he's not going to get a Trance basically. I just have to keep sitting here waiting for him to get Steiner and Eiko in Trance, since he just loves murdering Zidane and Vivi. Like, seriously, every other turn, one of those two, or both of them, are dead. It's a long back and forth of just reviving at this point. I have Vivi and Steiner literally sitting on Trance, just needing one more hit. But Leech is playing hard to get here until it happens. Both go into trance together. Now, I can't remember if Leech absorbs Shadow, so I get Vivi to use Doomsday and Flare, since I equipped everybody with Shadow absorbing gear previously, for added survivability and easy party healing when Vivi is tranced. And while it does damage Leech, it only tickles him. Flare, though, still hits for 5k, and Steiner's shock is max. And that's what I do. I shock and double flare away. Now that I can finally hurt him. Oh, and it feels nice to actually do some damage at long last. This is one of the best feelings ever. At least it would be, until Vivi dies to Doom. But that's fine. A Phoenix down later and he's back up, flaring away without a care in the world. Then Steiner gets doomed. He literally has a 50% chance of hitting a non-tranced party member, but of course he doesn't. He just pinpoints my trance characters. The fight is on par with Hades for annoying and difficult because of all his death attacks. Thankfully, after nearly 15 minutes, he dies. Seriously, screw this guy. But now this is it. We are at the end boss rush. Just 3 bosses to go. Well, and Osmo, I guess. So, first up, Death Guys, who I'm not really worried all that much about, if I'm honest. At least that is until his first attack. Meteor actually lands and kills Aiko. I revive her, he scratches her to death again. Talk about child abuse. And he has level 5 death, so Zidane keeps dying as well. I hate that spell. Once again, I revive and he kills Zidane again with Twister. And before I can even get him up, Vivi gets deathed. I'm feeling slightly abused now, and obviously my non-worried attitude goes out the window very quickly. I even resort to elixirs for healing, which I wanted to save for Necron. Aiko enters trance, so it's double holy time. I need to get and keep everybody healthy though for Kuja, so I stopped caring about elixir counts for now. And did I mention I only have like 5 potions left for auto potion? Yeah, at least Steiner is nearly in trance now as well. Once he enters trance, it's shock time. Aiko runs out of MP, so no more double holy spam, so I throw an ether at her, and right before the boss dies, he knocks Zidane into trance. That's really not good. I was hoping to save that for Kuja, but I have good health and good MP when Death Guys dies, so now it's on to Kuja himself with 3 characters having 0 trance. What a great start this is. I'm in trouble, aren't I? At least Holy only does 1k to Steiner, and Flare does 1.5k to Zidane. Both are amounts I can tolerate. And then he reflects though. I didn't think he had that, so I didn't equip Vivi to penetrate reflect. That's a big mistake on my part. At this point, his damage is catching up to me, so I throw some high potions out to waste time to give auto regen some more ticks. Then it's time for Flare Star to make its appearance, which hits pretty damn hard, roughly 2000 damage a person. That's pretty nasty, so I spam high potions again. I really want to save elixirs for Necron unless truly needed. Vivi trances, and the flare spam starts both from him and from me. Eventually, Zidane also trances, so now I have 2 characters capable of dealing damage. Kuja tries to heal with Curiga, but it's only a measly 2500. Kuja tries Reflect again when Vivi only has 1 turn left in trance, so I just use a normal attack with him. After being dropped quite low a few times, the fight is over. Just a few more grand lethal, but now it's time for Necron. A boss capable of inflicting basically every status in the game on you. He has his own buffs as well, and some attacks hit very, very hard. And what's even worse is 2 characters have 0 trance bar, meaning I need to try and hold out under his attacks. And the first one, Blue Shockwave on Zidane, so he's instantly lowered to 1 health. Then he protects himself before hitting me with AoE magic. Can I cry yet? Because he uses Grand Cross right after. I have a sneaking suspicion he might be trying to murder me, you know? It's weird, right? Well, right after, it's Neutron. Aiko and Zidane are dead, Vivi is petrified, and Steiner is low health. Then I just get spammed while trying to revive and heal everybody. But so far, I'm really having no luck with this. And eventually, another Neutron ring later kills Vivi. It's down to just Aiko right now. Luckily, she trances. I double cast full life on Zidane and Steiner. Steiner gets hit and trances, so I spam shock. On Aiko's next turn, I full life Vivi and haste Steiner. At this point, I am finally back in the game. Aiko's next turn, I double holy, and wow, just wow, I might actually be able to pull this off after such a terrible, scary start. And panic, trying to get back up. You know, I might have actually salvaged the run, and of course, the moment I type this, he uses Grand Cross again. I prep magic tags to remove zombie, but no zombie sticks, thankfully. Steiner does get death though, but before I can heal him, I'm hit by Neutron Ring again. I really need to learn to keep my mouth shut and stop jinxing myself. Thankfully, low damage only. Steiner dies, so I again pick him back up and throw out elixirs like they're everyday household goods. At this point, Steiner is still tranced, Zidane is nearly in trance, Vivi is halfway, and Aiko is about 1/4 of the way to trance. One fire later though, and Zidane trances as well, but it's not needed because Steiner kills him off with a shock, and just like that, I clutched the win. We have beat Final Fantasy IX using only trance. So, let's try Osmo. But before that, let me just say, this was the best fight I've had with Necron in years. It was actually tough, and I seriously thought I was going to game over multiple times in that fight. It was amazingly fun. Now, for Osmo. I don't bother doing the creature side quest because I want to face Osmo at his most powerful. Yes, I'm a glutton for punishment, sue me. I also don't really prep anything as I want to see what I can do without cheese, as I do have an idea to beat this fight. But, let's just try normally first. I do, however, take Vivi and Aiko out. I need big damage quickly here, so Amarant and Freya come in. Aiko would still be okay normally, but Osmo absorbs Holy, so we're going full melee here. I also equip everybody to absorb Shadow. Attempt number 1, Curse kills off Zidane and Steiner, Freya is confused, Amarant trances. I'm already giving up on this one because Amarant gets hit with death, so I'm left with a confused Freya who dies to another Curse. Attempt number 2, Osmo opens with Doomsday, which I absorbed. I'm hit by level 5 Dev, which kills Zidane, who dies again right after the Flare Star. I can already see my levels for Amarant and Freya are kind of low here, and not having Trance nearly available is bad, because everybody dies to Curse, bar Freya, who gets confused again, but killed by Holy this time. Okay, let's do some leveling to get more health and spirit. At level 70 plus across the board, I try again, but that ends almost instantly when I get hit by Doomsday because I forgot to put on the Shadow Absorbing gear. Whoopsie. Okay, correct gear, attempt number 4. Flare deals massive damage. Level 4 Holy hits Freya, but deals okay damage. Not too bad right now, but then it's Meteor, which kills off Steiner and Freya, followed by Curse. After this, I get a small break when he uses Doomsday. After then, it's level 5 Death, which now kills Steiner instead of Zidane, and Holy tickles Zidane. Right now, I have Zidane, Freya, and Steiner on the cusp of Trance, until a level 4 Holy puts Freya into Trance, and then Flare Star puts Zidane into Trance, even if it did nearly kill him. Let's go, I'm finally dealing damage, at least until he curses me again. So now Grand Lethal is doing next to nothing, another curse kills Zidane, Jump does 1.5k, Amarant is killed by Flare, Osmo keeps healing, and Freya dies to Flare. Okay, once more and then we cheese. Things start looking really bad, but eventually I pull it back. Freya trances and starts using Dragon Crest while Zidane is on revival duty, until I get cursed and Freya and Steiner die. I revive, I get cursed again. I hate curse. Like really hate it. Wish he just used Doomsday to give me a break. At least Zidane has Trance now, so I go back to dealing damage once everybody is revived. Dragon Crest with Freya, Grand Lethal with Zidane. Freya gets berserked, so I feed her Chocobo food, but it's too late, her turn is wasted. Things are not, but things are looking good. I'm healthy, he wastes a turn on Kuriga, but then he uses Meteor, which murders everybody but Zidane. I'm so damn close to killing him as well. I go full risk here and try to finish the fight with Zidane by using Grand Lethal right away. Reviving is just as risky, so I'm taking a gamble right now. Doomsday comes in, which heals him because I did not do the creature side quest, as mentioned. Osmo is spamming Kuriga though, a sign he's close to death, but then he uses Curse, which kills Zidane off. I was so close that time, which means I know I can do this without the cheese. I do one random fight to get characters closer to a trance. I do this by waiting until characters nearly trance and then kill them off with the tranced character. It's annoying when there's a miss though, and the character survives, because chances are high then that they trance, and I need to then lose trance on one of them to start earning it again. Eventually, I get 3 characters close to trance, and it's time for another fight with Osmo. And what a start this is. Freya dies instantly, and then I get cursed. Thankfully, I get lucky and only Freya dies to it. Amoran didn't trance, so he's on revive duty. Steiner and Zidane do trance, so it's shock and grand lethal off the bat. Osmo gets a Doomsday in, which does nothing. Zidane gets berserked, and Steiner dies to level 5 death. Then it's time for Meteor, which I get really lucky on because it's RNG damage. It did me good here. It does next to nothing, but does knock Amarant into trance. So now I have shock, grand lethal, and no mercy for damage. At this point, I've done 4 hits for max damage, and Zidane is berserked again. And I get cursed. So now my 3 characters in trance are doing no bloody damage. I wish I had Frog Drop, Thievery, or Dragon Crest right now, since Mini does not impact the damage from them. I only need 2 more attacks as well, but now Osmo is healing. Just my luck. I get Aura up on everybody for auto life since I have no way of dispelling Mini. I have to wait for him to use Curse again or Trance Freya. Zidane gets death, so I Aura again for auto life and carry on with the waiting game. Freya is getting closer and closer to Trance though. I thought the Flare Star used next would give it to me, but it bloody missed Freya. Steiner dies to level 5 death and Freya to Flare. So I revive an Aura yet again, and Osmo goes on a healing spree with Curiga and Doomsday. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I wish he would bloody use Cursed already. But then it happens. He uses level 4 Holy and Freya gets Trance. Now I have all 4 members tranced, and the moment I use Dragon Crest, I get meteored, wiping out the whole party. Auto life brings me back, and he curses me to kill me off. I'm actually really annoyed right now after that. He cheated me out of that win so freaking hard, but now I know it's more than possible. I just need good starting RNG and not to get fucked up the ass by Curse. Another attempt. I've lost track at this point, and he puts Steiner in trance, and then right after he uses Mini. My anger levels right now are high. Very high. He uses Curse and kills off everybody but Freya. I hate this marble. I'm seriously considering wasting tons of time just to grind to 99. But eventually, everybody is up. Mini has gone from Steiner and Freya trances. Okay, shock and Dragon Quest away until he curses me again. At least Dragon Quest still does max damage. He tries to berserk for Freya and thankfully misses, but I die to Meteor. At this point, I have to put the game down and walk away, because for the first time ever, I actually got frustrated with a challenge. Like, actual angry, because of just how bad RNG was fucking me here. I've had bad runs with Osmo before, but nothing like this. At this point, I've lost track of the attempts, but I will get this guy down, because that's what you guys voted for in the YouTube poll. On this attempt, he opens with Holy. Okay, not the end of the world. But then he tries to fuck me with Mini. Thankfully, it only hits Amarant. Then Flare Star to knock everybody bar Freya and Amarant into trance. I start with Shock, waiting for Zidane because of Osmo's gimmick for ATB. Before it goes off though, Steiner dies to level 5 death. Next up is Doomsday, but Steiner gets berserked. Then Curse kills half the group. Freya's turn is wasted and Zidane does no damage. Meteor is next. Can you guess what happens? If you said kills 3 party members, you guessed right. Freya trances, but I'm stuck reviving the others. Then I get flared and cursed for the game over again. Enough playing around. Let's just cut ahead to the eventual successful run. And trust me when I say this fight is so much BS. There's so much back and forth, and even an entire party wipe. But thankfully, Aura brings back 3 of the 4 dead members. Like, I can't even begin to describe this run. Right. The fight opens up with Holy on Amarant. Then I get Cursed, which kills Zidane, but trances Steiner and Amarant. I revive Zidane, use Shock, and set up Aura. Osmo gives me a freebie with level 4 Holy, so I managed to get another shock off. Steiner gets berserked because fuck my luck, and then Zidane gets deafed. At this point, I was just ready to give up the run. Auto Life brings back Zidane back, then Osmo kills Zidane and Steiner. I aura again. Meteor kills Steiner and Amorant. Zidane trances. Amorant has Auto Life, but Zidane does not. So I aura again. Steiner is dead though. But at this point, I go for damage with Zidane and Freya. I want this killed. Zidane gets berserk though, so he's useless. Freya, on the other hand, is non-stop dragon questing. Osmo heals with Kyorga and Doomsday. I use another aura with Amorant. I need Auto Life on here because things are looking up for me. I cleanse Berserk on Zidane, but he gets mini from Curse and Amorant dies. You know what that means? Another aura when he's up. Freya though continues to spam Dragon Crest. Its damage isn't affected by mini after all. She gets flared and dies. But thankfully Auto Life picks her up just before Amorant's aura goes off. Steiner dies against level 5 death, so I just leave him to Auto Life and pretend he doesn't exist. He's useless while minied anyway. I get another Dragon Crest off, and then Meteor comes in, one-shotting everybody. Thanks to Aura though, everybody bar Steiner gets back up, and Dragon Crest goes off to finally kill this marble. You know what? I was happy when I beat the game with Trance only. I really was. But these fights with Osmo, I wasn't happy I beat him. I was happy I don't have to fight him anymore. That was actually frustrating because of just how bad my RNG was. So, can you beat Final Fantasy IX with only Trance? Yes. But for the love of God, don't bother fighting Osmo. Save your sanity. And also, just to let you know, you can pick my next challenge. On my challenge page in the community section, we have a poll running where you can vote for the next challenge I will be doing. I also have another overpowered video coming soon, so look forward to that. But everybody, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please be sure to hit that like button as hard as Osmo hit me. And leave a comment while you're there. Let me know your thoughts on the run because it helps the channel tremendously. Also, remember to share the video. And of course, in the description, there's links to all my socials and Discord server. So maybe drop a follow on Twitch and Twitter. Or for those who really want to help support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate and Patreon links as well. And of course, if you aren't already, then hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to turn notifications on so you don't miss any more content. As always, everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.